You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? The hype. The hype over the COVID vaccine. They showed us beginning yesterday the planes leaving from the Pfizer factory in Michigan and Kalamazoo. They showed us the shots people were taking. They showed it being received. It's a lot of hype, and I'll tell you why. Because as we have discussed on this show, something like half the country will not take this. Something like 40% of nurses said that they will not take it. If a nurse is not going to take it, that's bad news for people who want to force it upon us. My late father was a medical doctor, and he always said sometimes the nurses know even more than the doctors. In fact, oftentimes they do. They don't want to take it, about half of them. And about half the country doesn't want to take it. You know what we need in order for this vaccine to be effective? 80% of the country to take it. Now, I'm not saying you should be one of those 80% because I'm not going to be. As I have said on this show, I do believe in vaccines. I think they're an important health measure to protect the public. However, not all vaccines are good, and some vaccines are rushed. And as I've said on this show before, the polio vaccine, for example, was rushed, just like this one. And the March of Dimes, then a very respected organization that was supposed to be invented and created for the sole purpose of defeating polio, which we did, and it's still around. The March of Dimes convinced parents that they should have their children take the polio vaccine. The children did. And you know what? Many children got polio, and some of them died. I've said this on the show time and again, but I'll say it again. And the reason I'm saying it again is I am not going to take a rushed vaccine. Neither are half of you watching. Neither are almost half the nurses. So if that number is that high, the vaccine is a waste of time. It's a non-starter. You know what the real vaccine is to what's going on in America? Living our lives and going forward, moving on, stopping these lockdowns, stopping these mandates, stopping the mask mandates. As I have said time and again on this show, we know that most of the people who die from this either have comorbidities or are senior citizens, or they are both. And as I've said on this show, just because you have a comorbidity or you're a senior citizen doesn't mean we don't care about you. Of course we do. If you're pro-life, as I am, you believe in the value of life at all stages of it, not just before it is born. So I do believe in life, and I do believe that we should protect our seniors and those who have comorbidities. But I also believe that the fact that those are the people who are most fatally affected by this tells us something. And what it tells us is the rest of us need to go on and live our lives. We need to be careful around people who are in those groups. People in those groups need to be careful. People in those groups maybe should do self-lockdowns. But I believe in freedom. And freedom is the ultimate vaccine for everything. You know what else is the ultimate vaccine? The free market and capitalism. And you don't have those things without freedom. Without freedom, capitalism dies. Without freedom, there is no free market. So these vaccines, they're being hyped for no reason. They are not the panacea. And by the way, after many people take the first shot, they're going to have to take a second one. And many people predict, including many physicians, that after the first vaccine, they're worried a lot of people won't take the second shot, because the vaccine does contain proteins and material from the coronavirus virus. So it contains that material, and you will get at least mild symptoms of that, maybe even worse. Many people won't want to take the second dose. I will not be taking a first until years from now when there are long-term studies. Yes, I believe in science, and science doesn't just involve rushing. It involves long-term studies. the people who are into taking it because I was a volunteer, or because I believe in it, or because I took it as a volunteer and I had no symptoms, those are the people who don't believe in science. Because what is good for you may not be good for me. What affects you one way may affect me a different way. And we will never know because it has been rushed. I don't want to be a guinea pig. And we will all be guinea pigs, not just the people who are involved in the trials. Now, the virus vaccine, the Pfizer shipment, the first one reached North Dakota today. So it was delivered to Sanford Bismarck Medical Center, and healthcare workers in Bismarck are scheduled to begin receiving it first before everybody else. So they're getting the vaccine today. Sanford Health has secured 3,400 doses for North Dakota for this first week. So 3,400 out of 762,062 people. It's not a lot. This is going to go on for weeks and months. And so what my fear is they will say, well, until 80% of the people are vaccinated, until 80% of the people are enough to have herd immunity, we are not going to stop these lockdowns. We are not going to stop these mask mandates. We are going to continue to impinge upon your freedoms. I don't want that. And I am afraid that is what's going to happen, especially when you see that Joe Biden is going to involve Anthony Fauci yet again. Anthony Fauci, who gives us conflicting advice and statements and recommendations every single day of the week, and has since this began, when he opposed President Trump's lockdowns from China, not locking us down, but keeping Chinese flights and European flights from coming to this country. So Sanford has plans in place to store and distribute the vaccine across its system. It is investing in special cold storage facilities to store almost 500,000 doses. But remember, that's not just for North Dakota. That's across Sanford Health systems. And we know that Sanford is in other states, not just North Dakota. Now, with regard to the mandates, I want to show you a picture. Look at this map. It is from Delphi, the Delphi group from Carnegie Mellon University. Now, what does this map show? I'll tell you. Where there are the darker spots, so the darker blue, the darker that the color is, that is where there is the largest compliance of mask mandate adherence. So 90%, the darkest spots are where there's 90% mask compliance. The cities with the highest rates of mask compliance, guess what? They're also the cities with the highest percentage in rising cases. So these are based on surveys of Facebook users. They ask people, do you wear a mask most or all of the time while in public? The people in these cities, the big cities, where there is the dark spots, and we have one dark spot in North Dakota, you could see it there. So we have one dark spot, I believe that's in the Fargo area. The cities with the largest compliance, but our dark spot is not as dark as in some of these other places, so I guess we're almost at 90%. Those are the places with the highest numbers of rising cases, the metropolitan areas. And the states, look at Michigan, California, New York, you've got those states. Look at Florida, by the way. Florida has very few dark spots. Florida has no mask mandate. Their cases are low. So, thank you for showing us the map, Mr. Producer. I would like to get into some North Dakota numbers because we started this, well, we've done this many times on the show, but we started this last week where I was looking at, since the governor's mask mandate, since his lockdowns, he doesn't call them lockdowns, but it's a lockdown when your bar is restricted to 50% capacity, or if you can seat 150 where you are restricted to 25% capacity, which I think means you can have 37 and a half people. We will talk about that after the break, and we'll get into some South Dakota numbers, and My fellow host, Rick Becker, what happened at his bar? That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Before the break, we were talking about the vaccine and how it is being overhyped, the fact that it's out, that it's being delivered. Every time somebody takes it in the next few days, there's probably going to be a video of it. I'm tired of it. Yes, I'm glad they have a vaccine. That's great. And for the people who want to take it, great. But again, I'm not taking it because of the long-term effects. That may be, by the way, why President Trump said he doesn't want to take it. Well, he didn't say that in those words, but I think you can draw a conclusion to that effect. He put out a tweet saying that the White House staff, who were originally going to be first to take this, or among the first, they are not going to be among the first, and he said he will take it at the appropriate time. I think he probably thinks he has antibodies from when he had it, and he may well. And we read that New York Times article about the studies that they have done showing that these kinds of antibodies could last for years, even decades. So there's no reason probably for him to take it. Now, the North Dakota numbers. So we've had these lockdowns, this mask mandate, the mandate for bars and restaurants where they cannot be open from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., and also where they have to be at 50% capacity, or if you're at 150 capacity, you can only be at 25%. So I guess as I said before the break, you can only have 37 and a half people. So I guess somebody's going to be cut in half. Or let me ask you this. Do you have to err on the side of caution and only let in 37? Because if you let in 38, then you are violating the law and you have half a person extra, so you have to cut them in half. I don't know. Don't ask me. Ask the governor. He's the one that set these ridiculous restrictions. And before I get into how poorly they're working, let's talk about what happened over the weekend. So Rick Becker is one of my co-hosts here on Beck, and we're very proud of him and a lot of the things he's been able to accomplish in the state legislature. But he's also a business owner, so he knows what's going on. Many people in the state legislature are business owners. They live under the laws that they make. And they also apparently live under the laws that they don't make, that Governor Burgum issues by fiat. So over the weekend at Rick Becker's bar, it's called Speakeasy, he was open after 10 p.m. Dun, dun, dun. You know, I guess that means that COVID was catchy because it has time boundaries. Did you know that? COVID only strikes people between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. That's when social distancing doesn't happen and the germs come out. I mean, it's really ridiculous. So because he was open after and they said that he exceeded the capacity, the police came to his bar. So here's what he said in response. He said, Governor Burgum's mandate for bars and restaurants to close at 10 p.m. is not supported by medicine or science. Exactly. It severely impairs the ability of thousands of hospitality employees to make a living. Yes. And that is just plain wrong. Amen. I support my employees, including standing against Burgum's arbitrary and harmful executive orders. Right on. I could not agree more. This is a business killer. You know what? People got mad when I first started this show, and I called Michigan's governor Gretchen Whitmer. They call her Big Gretch. Some of us call her Big Grinch. I called her a serial killer. She is a serial killer. She's a serial killer of businesses, a serial killer of jobs, and a serial killer of senior citizens whom she dumped into nursing homes so that they could catch COVID and die. And that's what she does with everyone with COVID who's a senior and everyone without COVID who's a senior. So all these people catch it and they die. This is a sign of the one-size-fits-all policy. She has no policy for these senior citizens. I don't think there's any specific policy in North Dakota for them. And this is what happened. So here's what's going on with Governor Burgum's orders, his fiat, frankly, his dictatorial moves. The numbers are going up and down, but they're mostly increasing. All right, so we talked about this on Friday. North Dakota per capita death count soars in recent weeks. So this is a result of what has happened with his mask mandate and his lockdown conditions on bars and restaurants. Nothing. It has not helped. In fact, it's made it worse. So Johns Hopkins University, I've talked about them before. They do this thing where they look at deaths per capita in the past 2 weeks. So in North Dakota has risen from the 12th highest in the U.S. to 5th in just 6 weeks. So over mostly the time when this mask mandate and these lockdowns have been in place. So 12th to 5th, this is what the governor has achieved. It hasn't helped anything. Now today, there are only 5 deaths reported. It goes up and down. Yesterday, there were more. It goes up and down. Mask mandates aren't going to make a difference. But as I told you on Friday, we are on track in North Dakota to get to 301 deaths by the end of December, by New Year's Eve. All right, by the time that ball hits the ground or whatever it does on New Year's at midnight. We are on track to hit 301 or 302 deaths, which is less than November, but it's a lot more than October when there were no mask mandates. So what does that mean? Well, let's look at South Dakota. South Dakota now has reported its lowest new COVID case count since October 6th. It has no new deaths. So we have 5 new deaths we reported today. South Dakota, no new deaths. They have no mask mandate, no lockdown, None of these restrictions on bars and restaurants where they send the police, Gestapo to make trouble for Rick Becker. But they have none of that in South Dakota. So what does that mean? It means that mask mandates don't do anything. They don't stop the spread. They don't stop deaths. They don't do a thing. It's absurd. Rick Becker is right. All right, so that's how it's working there. All right, now let's get to something more interesting, and that is, well, we will talk about after the break. A terrorist is too fat to stay in jail. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to tell you something else that we're going to talk about after the break. And we've talked about this on the show. Dr. Jill Biden. Is Jill Biden really a doctor? Would you trust her to prescribe you medicine, to operate on you, to examine any physical ailments you have? Because I wouldn't. I don't consider her a doctor. And another guy didn't, and now his whole life has been turned upside down. And his name is Joseph Epstein. He wrote an op-ed piece about this in the Wall Street Journal. When we come back, we will talk about the fat terrorist and Dr. Jill Biden and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I told you about this fat terrorist. So an Al-Qaeda terrorist who murdered Americans who should be spending his life in prison at the very least, should probably be executed. And I'm one who generally doesn't believe in the death penalty, but I think it should be reserved for special cases like this guy. Unfortunately, he's now set free. Why? Because he's too fat. And apparently being fat risks his life. So as you may know, there are these motions for compassionate release being brought by lawyers for incarcerated criminals all over the country. Some of them are being granted, some of them are not. But basically these attorneys are arguing that because the terrorists or criminals or whoever it is have COVID or have a high propensity to get COVID, they have some kind of comorbidity and they might die, they want them out. And that's the case with Adil Abdul Bari, who is 60 years old and weighs 230 pounds. He has a body mass index of 36. Let me just tell you about this guy. He spent 21 years in a New Jersey prison. Why? Because in 1998, he was involved in the bombings of our two U.S. embassies, one in Tanzania and one in Kenya. Now, he murdered 224 people, including 12 Americans. That's a mass murderer. Should mass murderers go free? Should mass murderers, they might get COVID, so they should go free and hang out with their families? No way. No way. If they get COVID, tough. You know what? That's nothing compared to what they did. I mean, this guy murdered 224 people. He was involved in the bombing. He's an Al-Qaeda terrorist, but he's getting out. Now, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison in 2015 and received credit for the years he spent behind bars in Britain while fighting extradition, which he shouldn't have gotten credit for that either. But 25 years in 2015, so that means, give or take, he should be out in 2025. That guy should have been sentenced to at least life. Like I said, he probably should have been executed. Beyond that, he is going home. He's been deported. So he's out of prison because he's too fat. And his lawyer said, after all this time, Mr. Bari wants to enjoy the quiet life with his family. A quiet life with his family. You know who does not get to spend a quiet life with their families? The 224 people, including 12 Americans, that this horrible person murdered. Those people will be quiet because they're dead, but they don't get to enjoy a quiet life with their families. And listen to who is in this guy's family. He's got, no, he doesn't have 4 wives yet, as far as I can tell, but maybe he'll get some. He has 1 wife so far. She lives in a $1 million plus apartment in London. And his son is a supporter of Islamic terrorism. He's a militant. His name is, he's a rapper. He's a pro-terrorism rapper. His name is Abdulmajid Abdul Bari. So what a bunch. What an awesome group of people. And he gets to go free. You know what? This is disgusting. There are so many people in our federal prisons who did a lot less than this guy. A lot less. There are people serving life because of drug crimes, petty drug crimes, marijuana. And this terrorist gets to go free because he's too fat. It's just disgusting. Also disgusting is what happened over the weekend with regard to Jill Biden. So we've talked about this on the show from the very beginning. I find it annoying that they call her Dr. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, like she's some kind of prestigious person who has some kind of expertise in anything. She wrote a paper, all right? She wrote some kind of thesis paper, and she got a doctorate in education. Big bleeping deal. You know who else has that? Bill Cosby. You know where he is? Not involved in teaching anything with education, unless it's to prisoners, all right? Remember, he's a rapist, used pills on women, many women. Like, there's dozens of them, I think over 60 right now. So Jill Biden's got this phony doctorate. She wrote a paper. I've always said, I've always believed, and I said this on this show, my late father was a medical doctor. I don't call anybody doctor unless they can write a prescription and or deliver a baby or examine me and diagnose what's wrong. All right? She cannot do that. I would not trust her to do that, would you? So she's insisting on being called Dr. Jill Biden and Dr. Joseph Epstein, who's really not a doctor either. He's a professor, or was, at Northwestern University. He wrote an op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal saying that she should drop the doctor. He said it's fraudulent and even comic. He's right. He's absolutely right. These people who wrote a paper, they want you to call them doctor, are self-important snobs who probably don't know much, and you're probably wiser than they are. You may not have the book learning, but you got this learning up here. All right, I have a doctorate. I have a JD, a Juris Doctorate in law. So should I start telling people to call me Dr. Debbie or Dr. Schlussel? Hell no. That's ridiculous. It's absurd. I'm not that pretentious. I'm not that important. But she is. And we are going to have to hear this Dr. Jill Biden stuff for the next 4 years. Or until Kamala Harris throws them off the cliff. It's just ridiculous. I've had to hear this Dr. Jill Biden stuff for years already. Because whenever she's on these talk shows, Dr. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. You know what she wrote with this Dr. Jill Biden expertise that she supposedly has? She wrote a kid's book. We talked about this. A Joe Biden kid's book. She's not a doctor. I'm sorry. So what happened to Joseph Epstein, who wrote the article in the Wall Street Journal? He came under attack. Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned, and all of her followers, supporters, and cult members. And now Northwestern University has erased him off of their website. He was a lecturer there for 30 years. He said he does not have a doctorate. He said he has an undergraduate degree. And when students would call him Dr. Epstein, he would be embarrassed by it. He would feel it was fraudulent and unearned. He's absolutely right. But his life is ruined because he dared say the wrong thing that other people don't agree with. It's not politically correct. So now it's Dr. Jill Biden. Just absurd. All right. By the way, you know who sent out a tweet saying, Dr. Jill Biden, check out this tweet. Our friend, Eric Swalwell. Remember him? So I think we have his tweet that he sent out. Do we have it? Yeah. Dr. Jill Biden, pass it on. Now, remember, Eric Swalwell, this is, I think, day 7+ of him refusing to talk about his Chinese spy girlfriend, concubine, extramarital lover, whatever you want to call it, Feng Feng, day 7.5. He still won't talk about it. He's still in Congress. Like I said, in another day and age, he wouldn't be here 7.5 days. He'd be 7.5 minutes to write. He'd be in Congress another 7.5 minutes. He would be writing his resignation and announcing it. Do you remember there was a Republican congressman who was married, and he was from upstate New York. He put a photo of himself online on one of these online dating sites of himself with his shirt off. He resigned over that within minutes. This guy probably had sex with and did something with a Chinese spy who placed staff on his staff, who raised money for him. He was sitting in the House Intelligence Committee. He's still there, and he's probably not going to go. It is so sad what America has come to. All right, when we come back, the Trump Supreme Court flop, why I think the justices made a mistake, and why I think it happened. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie. I'm back.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering is the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I told you I'd be talking about the Trump decision at the Supreme Court. I am very disappointed by this, and I'll tell you why. I did not think Trump would win this. This is the Texas lawsuit. We in North Dakota were a party to it. Attorney General Wayne Stenhjem joined in, said it wouldn't cost the state a thing, and he's right. All he had to do was sign his name to it. I do think this should have gone before the Supreme Court. Instead, what happened was they didn't even hear it. They voted 7-2, and I predicted this. I told friends Amy Coney Barrett is not going to be the conservative you think. She's not going to be as fair as you think. She wasn't. She voted with Kavanaugh, with Roberts, with all the liberals on the Supreme Court not to hear the case. The only two that voted to hear it were Justices Alito and Clarence Thomas. Now, why did they vote for it? They said that Texas does have standing. It has an interest in it. It's Texas and North Dakota and all of the other states. I think there are 20 other states that signed on to this thing. So they've said that the states do have an interest in protecting their elections and their voters from these other states where there was fraud. Now, the other 7 said there was no standing. So in other words, they said that these states had no interest that was being harmed, which is what you need for so-called standing. Standing says that you are in a position to bring a case. You have an interest that's being harmed. You have something there. To bring something before the Supreme Court, I don't even think you need standing, but I think Texas did have standing. All you need is a conflict between the states, which is what they had. But the 7 justices are political, and they did not want to do this. Here's what I think should have happened. Now, I realize today is the Safe Harbor Day. In fact, the Electoral College today voted, they put Joe Biden over the 270 votes. They voted to certify him as the next president. But I think that the Supreme Court could have taken the case. They could have considered it over the weekend. And if the other 7 justices don't agree that there's anything there, they could have issued a decision. They didn't want to work hard. They didn't want to work quickly. They did not want to issue a decision Sunday or by Sunday night. I think they should have. I think they owed it to all Americans. I think also they made themselves look bad because now Americans feel that they've been cheated, at least half of them. If they would have at least considered the claims, looked at it, they could have ruled against it like they were going to do, 7-2. They could have at least looked at it and written a decision. This way, it's like, we're not even looking. We're not even going to give you a chance. It's bad. It's bad for the American people. If you want people to have confidence in elections, hear them out. Be fair. And they weren't. So, like I said, today's the day that the Electoral College met. All right, they voted. So all these voters in different states, the electors, they voted. Mostly none of the, there may have been some faithless electors, but most of them voted for Joe Biden. He's over the top. He was put over the top, 270. Now, Stephen Miller, the Trump advisor, said that they are sending an alternative slate or an alternate slate of electors to Congress. Good luck with that. Congress is not going to vote to overturn the election. They're not. There might be some members of Congress, but you have to get the House and the Senate. You're not going to get them. You wouldn't even get the Senate. There aren't enough Republican senators. I'm just saying. It's a long shot. I get it. Joe Biden's going to be the next president. Now, President Trump is planning for Inauguration Day. I said this here before anybody months ago. I said, or at least about a month and a half ago, when it looked like President Trump had lost the election, I said that he should have an event on Inauguration Day. During the inauguration or right before that morning, he should announce he's running. He may do that. We're not sure. We don't know what's going to happen. You know what? He likes to keep people guessing, and that's a good thing. Now, one of the things where people are also guessing is pardons. Who is he going to pardon? And this really bothers me. A lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans are pushing for him to pardon Julian Assange, and I've mentioned this before with Pamela Anderson, who's pushing for that, and also to pardon Edward Snowden. Now, both of these people were involved in trying to take down America. They jeopardized our national security apparatus. They jeopardized spies all over the world who worked for us. They jeopardized, and in fact, there were some discovered and killed double agents of ours that risked everything to help us from other countries. They did not do anything for our privacy, which they allegedly said that this was about. Julian Assange has always said he hates America and wants to take it down. Edward Snowden made that pretty clear. He helped the Chinese. He helped the Russians. Neither of these people should get pardons, not even close. It's disgusting if they do. There are many people who've done a lot less who should be pardoned and won't be. All right, so there are people who are in federal prison who didn't mean to jeopardize any national security, but they took some documents home and they went to prison. They should get pardons. But I want you to see this tweet. I don't normally agree with Liz Cheney. I don't like the Cheney family. I think they're opportunists, but she's absolutely right. Read this tweet. She's right. He's a traitor. He's responsible for the largest and most damaging release of classified info in U.S. history. He handed over U.S. secrets to Russian and Chinese intelligence, putting our troops and our nation at risk. Pardoning him would be unconscionable. Amen. You know what? A broken clock is right twice a day, and she's right once every couple of years. So not as good as a broken clock, but good enough for this topic. I want you to look at this response that Matt Gaetz wrote. This makes me sick. So Matt Gaetz, he's the guy, so he said the Cheney ideology supporting forever wars puts more troops at risk than Snowden ever did. All right, maybe Cheney did send people to war. Yeah, that's true. It did jeopardize troops. But Snowden has jeopardized a lot of people. It's apples and oranges what he's comparing. This guy's totally weird. He's very immature. A lot of his tactics, I mean, aside from the fact he's a convicted drunk driver, he wore a gas mask to Congress. He's announced that he's adopted an adult child. He's just a weird, bizarre, immature guy, and don't take anything he says seriously. It makes me sick that a Republican congressman wants Edward Snowden pardoned. Liz Cheney's absolutely right. Now, Joe Biden today announced he is going to rejoin the Paris Accords, or he announced that over the weekend. He said it before that if he's elected, he would do that on day one. That is going to kill North Dakota. Kill it. And you know why it's going to kill North Dakota? We rely on oil. We rely on fracking. We can't have a Green New Deal. We can't be in the Paris Climate Accords. It will kill American jobs. China and India, who are the biggest violators, who are the biggest polluters, they will not abide by it. Even if they did and we did, all it will do is possibly lower the temperature on average of the Earth in something like 20 or 30 years by a fraction of a degree. It's not going to do anything. All right, now, over the weekend, we're almost at the break, but I just want to show you, over the weekend, there was a Trump rally against the Supreme Court decision and in favor of Trump. Huge crowds, still huge crowds. Joe Biden will never get that ever in his presidency. I want you to watch this brief video of the Chinese.
The Chinese American Alliance for Trump is out here en masse. Look at the size of this banner that they have brought out.
All right, that's just the Chinese. So there were thousands just of Chinese Americans because they know what it's like to live under communism, which Joe Biden basically is going to be. Now, one last thing, I want to show you this picture of a guy named Vincent Fusca. All right, Vincent Fusca. Do we have that picture? The crazy. All right, so you see that guy? This is why I think these QAnon people are crazy, they're nuts, and the Republicans really need to disavow them. This guy, they say, is really JFK Jr., and he's playing the role. He's wearing that George t-shirt. They say he's JFK Jr., only he's wearing makeup and a disguise that Hollywood put on him to make him look like somebody else. All right, so if that's JFK Jr., boy, it's like some aliens visited him to make him look much younger. JFK Jr. would be 60 years old right now, and they wanted to make him look much younger than he would be today and make him look far less attractive. So here's my Us magazine that I just got in the mail. That's JFK Jr. Yeah, do you see the resemblance? Yeah, I don't see it either. All right, when we come back, Georgia has started early voting, and I want to show you this bizarre video from Dan Crenshaw. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best-built, best-backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So today began early voting in those 2 Georgia U.S. Senate seats, and over 1 million people requested ballots today. So this is going to be close, and I fear for the Republicans. I really hope they pull it out. They have enlisted Congressman Dan Crenshaw to help them. Now, I was a fan of his. Now I'm not as much of a fan because I watched this video that he made. Watch this.
The American story is one of true exceptionalism. It's built on the greatest ideas in history. This victory tonight, it's about you. It's about defining those. Sorry, folks. I'll be right back.
What do we got? Well, it's not over in Georgia. Senate races went to a runoff. What are we up against? You'll never believe this.
Far-left activists are attempting to gain full and total control of the U.S. government.
That we secure a Democratic Senate majority so that we don't have to negotiate in that way.
Should these Senate seats be lost, all will be lost.
You supported the Green New Deal. You supported Medicare for all.
Your mission will be to rally support across Georgia behind these American patriots, Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler. They must win.
What's our situation on the ground? We have 2 patriots down there, Senator Loeffler and Senator Perdue. Great fighters with a great message. They just need a little backup. Last question. What do you want to bring?
Bring everyone.
Control, what's the situation at the LZ?
Good evening, sir. Rather lovely form, if I may say so. But we do have a small problem at the landing zone. So-called anti-fascists, an ironic term given their propensity to, well, act like fascists, are patrolling the area. Recommend we shift north 3 kilometers. How does that sound?
Negative. I want to say hello to the greeting party. What's the bearing?
Always one for a bit of drama. 90 degrees from your current heading. Be well, sir.
Man, where is this guy?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be dark soon.
Where is that pirate?
Oh, I don't even know why I'm so angry, you know?
Oh, the news told us to be.
What was that? All right, listen, I appreciate this man's service. He was a Navy SEAL. He's a hero. He lost his eye while serving. But that was bizarre. It was ridiculous. And basically he's saying, me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I wish I were a Hollywood action star superhero. Since I'm not, I'm going to waste money that could go to some Republican efforts to make this video ingratiating myself. And by the way, those 2, Perdue and Loeffler, they're not patriots. They're greedy, but unfortunately, they're insider traders. But unfortunately, since they are the Republican choices, we got to get them elected. They aren't patriots. But his video is absurd. Now, it was made by his Spirit of 76 PAC that he founded. You know, many members of Congress have a PAC. AOC has one. Ilhan Omar has one. They're disgusting. I like that he's a patriot. But still, you're going to get people to give you money to your PAC to get reelected and that kind of thing, and you make this 3-minute ego narcissism exercise and look at me. I don't get it. So there's that. But then on the other hand, there's Representative Katie Hill's tweet against it. Look at this. So Representative Katie Hill, do we have her tweet? She tweeted against him. I think we have the tweet. There it is. So she attacked him. Now listen, Katie Hill is the one that got fired from Congress. She was forced to resign. So she could cry sexism because Eric Swalwell is still in Congress. And she was forced to resign because she had what's known as a throuple. So she had her husband, and somebody else, or she and 2 other members of her staff, something like that. I think her husband used the pictures in the divorce. They had naked pictures. She had to resign. So, I mean, she can make her own porn film. She's attacking him about this. She probably should shut up about that. All right, so over the weekend, yesterday, John le Carré died, the famous mystery novelist, did Cold War thrillers. His real name is David Cornwell. No tears from me, because this guy was sympathetic to the Soviet Union. He said he was recruited to spy for them, and he almost did. He said the only reason he didn't was something that had nothing to do with patriotism. He's also very anti-Israel, wrote The Little Drummer Girl, which was an anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian, PLO, Muslim terrorism book. Just a horrible person, so no tears from me. Also over the weekend, the Cleveland Indians announced that after over 100 years, they're changing their name to something more politically correct so they won't offend Native Americans. My suggestion is to rename it the Cleveland Elizabeth Warrens. Then they won't offend anybody except one group, which is con artists and frauds, and obviously fake Indians who are hijacking the Native American background. That's what I think they should do, but they won't listen to me. All right, well, remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.